Oh, okay. Yes, we will get it start about 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, all right. I think we are ready to get started. Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. So first of all, it's so hot in Japan right now. Ah, so how is it in your country? So I hope you are all doing okay. So today, once again, we have people joining us from many different parts of the world. So, and that's what I really love about this community. So, we may live in different countries and have different backgrounds, but today we are here to learn and share together. So, we have some great speakers with us today, and I'm really excited. Uh, to hear their stories and experiences. So, and please don't be shy. Feel free to share your thoughts, reaction, and the question in the chat anytime. So let's connect and have fun together. So, all right, let's get started. So first quick introduction. So I'm Hiromi and Yuki and I organize AWS Global Community Gatherings. So we started this meetup to bring people from around the world together to learn, share, and connect. So, and we are always we always looking for our new speakers. And if you'd like to speak future meetup, please feel free to reach out to me. We'd love to hear from you. So now, let's meet together speakers. Today we have four great speakers joining us, Shabham, Madhu, Felina, and Mahendra. So they will be sharing different topics, ideas, and experiences with us today. And I'm really looking forward to their sessions. So speakers, if you are already here, please say hi in the chat or give us a quick reaction. So we will follow the agenda you see on the screen, and each session will be about 15 to 20 minutes. We will have a short break between sessions while we get ready for the next speaker. And of course, feel free to ask questions and share your thoughts in the chat anytime. And please cheer on our speakers too. Already, we are going to have a great time today. So before we move on, just a few quick notes. You can join us on Zoom or YouTube, whichever you prefer. So if you post anything on social media, please use the hashtag AWS Global Community. So we love to see your posts. So and please feel free to use the chat anytime, share your thoughts, ask question, or just say hello. So during the session, please keep your microphone mute. And most importantly, let's be kind and respectful to each other and make this welcoming place for everyone. Right, let's continue. So, uh, I'd also like to tell you a little about our community. So if this is your first time here, welcome. AWS Global Community Gathering is a place for people from all around the world to meet, learn, and share together. It doesn't matter where you are from or how much AWS experience you have. Everyone is welcome. So we have people joining from many different countries, and that's what makes this community so much fun. So we also love meeting new people and welcoming new speakers. So if you enjoy today's meetup, please join us again. And if you'd like to speak someday, just reach out me. So we are always happy to welcome you. Thank you for being part of our community. And next, here's a quick look at our upcoming schedule. So we have more meetups coming up, so please save the dates. And in October, we are planning our very first online hands-on session. So this will be something new for our community. So I hope you are looking forward to it. So we have many great sessions coming up. So please save the dates and joining us again. And more things. And if you'd like to hear about our future meetup, please scan the QR code and follow our community. So we host this meetup every month, and we are always looking for speakers. So whether it's your first time speaking or you are spoken many times before, you are always welcome. So if you have something you'd like to share, we'd love to hear from you. So please join us, and maybe next time you can be one of our speakers. All right. It's time to start our first session. Our first speakers today, Shubham. Let's give them a big welcome. Already?
Thank you very much, Naomi, for the introduction. Right. Can anyone just confirm whether my screen is visible and I'm
Yes.
audible?
Uh, Oh, great, but the audio might not be very clear. Hmm, Not clear.
Okay, now is it loud?
There is
Mm.
little echo, Shubham.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just continue. Now is it good?
Great.
Okay, that's it. Good. All right. So, first of all, thank you very much. Let me introduce myself. My name is Shubham, and I am joining you from India. So, I would like to thank AWS Global Community for giving me this opportunity today. So, this is actually a very special moment for me because this is the very first time that I am speaking into a global community. So, today, while I was deciding what thing should I deliver, the first thing that came into mind is not to deliver a technical talk, but to share my experiences about cloud, how I joined with cloud and how I began my journey with. So that is something that I wanted to share. So this would be more about my experience with cloud and how did I find the AWS community. So that is something that I would be talking about. So before I move forward, let me just give a short introduction about myself. So yes, again, my name is Shubham, and I work around cloud and DevOps. So usually my day starts with sitting around with cloud infrastructure. Then I do automation. Then I work with containers and Kubernetes. But there is another part of story too, which I really enjoy, and that is nothing but teaching, which I came across while my cloud journey. So basically why teaching, it's something like whenever you learn a tough topic, so there was a thinking behind it to make it very much easier to the people who might find it difficult at the same time. So I used to write blogs, then I used to prepare videos, and that is how I started things. So and then actually I'm going to tell you about the story that actually became a very good part of my journey. So over the time I realized that it is not just about learning, it is just about sharing the knowledge to share with the community. And then again, you don't even know who will come across with, and that is how AWS community come into the picture. So let me start with my presentation, and I'll start with this one first. So yeah, the first question is like where it started. So what actually happens behind the application that we use every day? So this used to be the question every time, because I come from a non-tech background, and for me it was just like a question like, how does this application is working? So I used to see a screen, then I used to click something, and we used to get a response. So whenever I used to order anything from Amazon specifically, so I used to wonder like, okay, how does things are working at the back end? So for an end user, it used to be just like clicking few buttons, but I was very much interested in how does things are working at the back end. So I become very much curious about knowing everything that is running at the back end, and how does this application is running. So these things actually used to come up on my mind, and that curiosity took a very good progress later. Then I came to know that something known as Linux is there. Then I came to know about Git, about automation, then Docker, and eventually I came to know that there is something called as cloud. Then cloud was again a very interesting concept that I came to know about, because something that you use physically on your desk is already been virtualized that you can actually use. And that's when my journey with AWS actually began. So I discovered AWS at that time. So for me, AWS changed the fundamentals. So infrastructure, instead of looking at hardware just like this mic, it changed it to something like how does the things look virtually. And then I started to feel like something is there that I can actually build from my own hand. So I could create infrastructure without physically owning the hardware. It is something that is been operated far beyond from my place. It is something that I'm operating from another country. So that was a really very fascinating thing. So then I could think about scalability. Then I came to know about scaling things, and instead of repeating the same task again and again, I came to know there is something called automation. Then I thought of, okay, instead of repeating the same task again and again, why not to automate it? And that is how I came to know about Jenkins, which actually helped a lot during my entire tenure. So that actually changed the thought process as an engineer, how things are working. So I don't wanted to know how things are there. Instead, I wanted to understand how things are working at the back end. I wanted to know how to build the things, how to automate it, and how to make it better over the time. And that's where I started building. So yes, here basically I understood what sort of possibilities we can bring when we are building any sort of stuff. So as an aspiring engineer, like it was like connecting the dots, like from writing the code to making it as a version control, then automating it with Jenkins, then finally containerizing it, and then finally pushing it to the cloud. So this is something that I was very much fascinated about. So my thought process changed from writing the code to making it deployable into the production. And that's where I started building the application. That's where I started to think about the cloud and infra. So before even that, there was one question that before AWS I used to think like, okay, uh, how does things are working? So if application are working, then it used to felt like a success. But AWS changed the question, and then I, instead of asking how does it work, I used to think like how do I ship this application? So can I scale it? Can I make it available for all the people? If there are more traffic, if there is huge traffic into the website, how will I make sure that people are connecting to that website will get a proper experience on it? So that is something that I came to know about it. And finally, in terms of disaster recovery, like if something goes wrong, how we can recover it. So those sort of things I came to know about it. I was thinking in that direction. And then again, my curiosity with learning again starting to deepen, because here I was just not trying to understand what's happening at the back end. At the same time, I want to realize that technologies are not just for learning, it is just for helping people to making their life easier. So I used to connect the dots, like containers I used to connect with Kubernetes, then infrastructure I used to connect with infrastructure at code, and then there was application which I used to connect with logging and monitoring. And that's how I used to connect all the dots, and finally we used to stitch it up with the help of automation, and that is nothing but Jenkins. So that's my journey. And then after learning all those things, I didn't stop. I wanted to share it with the people. So at some point in time when I started my journey, I used to be a consumer, where I used to get knowledge from YouTube, from Udemy, from multiple sources. And then things changed, and then I started to write blogs, I started to create technical videos, I started to hold podcasts, and I started sharing. Basically I started documenting, and then content creation became a integral part of my life. And something unexpected happened, because while I was creating that content, I never thought that it would impact people's life. Because again, learning is another part, and when you teach someone any concept, it becomes another thing, because when you teach, your concept again became very much clearer. So that is how I came to know about AWS Community Builder. And teaching was something that exposed me that with the things that I didn't know. So you can read something, you can watch a tutorial, you can even build something, and again you might feel, okay, I understand this, but again let me explain it to someone else. So again, coming back to the same circle, again, when you learn something, it's very easy, but when you try to teach it to someone else who doesn't know the concept, it becomes somewhat tricky. So that is how your concepts again become clearer too. So that is how teaching became a important part of my life. And then after some years, recently I became a part as an AWS community builder for container category, because I have been working around cloud and Kubernetes. So I want to be really very honest about to me, because I want to share what exactly AWS community means to me, because it's just not something that I will be putting on my profile. It actually helped me to represent myself, it helped me to get the opportunity, it helped me to connect with the people globally. So basically, because of community, it's not just about many people will know my name. It's about whether I am willing to help people to move forward, and that mindset actually changed the way I look at the community. And then again, I eventually realized that AWS is again bigger than AWS itself. When I started with AWS, I was just looking it as an cloud, but eventually I realized that I am not just learning cloud. I am actually entering an ecosystem where there was technology, where there was learning, where there was career opportunity, where there was mentorship, and again where there was community helping people to grow in their area, helping people to connect with multiple people. And basically this ecosystem kept me in touch with the community, and that's the thing that I love the most. And then again, this brings to be one of the most special part that I feel very much impressed about is just like from learning from India, from sitting in one desk, I will be able to connect to multiple people sitting out there in multiple countries. And basically, at that time I didn't know what journey that I would be taking about, because like when you start learning you are also doubtful, but when you gather the concept, when you become sound, things become very much interesting. So here, AWS is not just learning and sharing. Here we sit together, we build together, we learn together, and then we help out each other. So when think about my journey with AWS to joining this global community, I don't really think it as a journey in the very first place, because it's not just learning alone, it's just learning together with a group. So yes, on the end note, there is one thing that I want to share, that is uh, stay curious, turn in, whatever you are learning to something real, and when you figure out something tough, make it easier for someone else so that they can also move forward. Because sometimes the thing that actually changes your career isn't just the technology, is it is just the way you learn it. So, and also again, with the community, it's not just about being a part of the group, it's just like you meet new people and you get new experiences. So yeah, thank you very much for having me, and yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. And again, if you want to connect, you can just scan this QR code. I will be very much happy to connect with you personally. Yeah. Right.
Thank you, Shubham. Thank you so much for your talk today. Thank you so much, uh, hearing how people around the world connected with AWS community, and technology is exactly what this global community is all about. So thank you for sharing your story with us. I really like it. What you said about curiosity. I think curiosity is one of the most important things for engineers, and it's great to see that your curiosity has always been part of your career. So also, Zen cancer was new to me. Yeah, I'd like to
Thank you
learn
very much.
about
Mhm.
it. Yes. So, does anyone have any question or thoughts or comments on what you come?
So there is one comment, yeah. So it's from Brian. He says, "Have you found Amazonians are directly connected to the community?" So Brian, for the first question, yes, I did. And there is again one podcast that I will be hosting with one of the Amazon employees. She works as an cloud support engineer in Amazon. Secondly, is do you have opportunities to learn from AWS product team directly? So yes, we have weekly sessions that we have in the cohorts that we actually attend directly. So something which evenly goes out to the public. Before even that, we are the first one who get to experience it live. Then how do you balance listening your Amazon against the other builders? So I'm not sure on the third question, but maybe you are trying to ask whether how do I balance my own work along with the community building. So basically, like once my job is completed, I come back to the community, and that is how I'm doing my job. Again, like Saturdays and Sundays, usually the weekends are dedicated for the community itself, because uh, again, when I do community work, it's just a learning for me. So it just both way around. So I hope that answered the question, Brian.
Have any questions or comments?
Thanks, Brian. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Neha.
Okay. So, all right, let's move on to our next speaker. So, thank you again, Shubham. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ryomi,
Bye.
for the chance here.
Thank you so much. And the next speaker, so Madhu. Oh, Madhu?
Hi.
Hey.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes. Are ready?
Am I? Yes, of course.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so this is kind of my first presentation in this
Nice.
global platform. I might become little nervous.
No, no,
No, no,
no,
no. Okay,
no.
sure. So, sure. Yeah. Shall we start, guys?
Yes, Madhu, we are ready.
All right, friends. So, yeah. Hi, guys. So, my name is Madhu Kiran. First of all, thank you, AWS, for giving me this opportunity. So, let me, yes. Hello. Oh, I need to share my screen. Yeah, I forgot. I told you. Okay, okay. Now, can you guys see it?
No rush at all. Take your time.
Yes.
Take your time.
One
Oh, great.
second.
What's
Okay.
change?
Yeah, I need to change, correct?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Share.
Yes, take your time.
Share. No. Why it's sharing? To share. Give me 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
It's going directly to screen one. Share settings. Uh, okay. I'm just would like to share my second window. I'm just checking here. Give me 1 minute.
Hmm.
Uh,
Don't worry.
okay, all right. Yeah. Uh, choose individual windows. Okay, it's okay. I'll just turn off my video. Hmm, yeah, yeah. Share. Share. Yes. Share.
Yeah, I know it can be confusing.
Yeah, for me also, when I started, I was mostly into Chrome tab. So yeah, sometimes it can.
I'm just figuring it out. Kind of new with this two window sharing.
Mhm. Mm. your time. Your time. Hmm. Oh, good news. Nice. Good news. Eh, mm, oh, okay.
Hey
Okay.
guys.
Oh,
Hey.
oh, oh, perfect.
Perfect. No, no, that's fine. So basically, that's the another window is not opening. So somehow I'm just sharing the screen. Anyway, so it's okay. So let's start.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Thank you so much.
All right. So yeah, thank you guys. So my name is Madhu Kiran. Uh, I would like to thanks for giving this opportunity. So I thought of like what to share as a first time community member and first time I'm speaking in a global event. So I thought of sharing my journey, like how AWS, how my journey is with AWS and how it changed my life, and in the same process, how I'm helping others in choosing their career path. All right. So we'll start. So basically, I was no one. Simply, I was no one when started my career. So I used to work in a NOC team. I used to work as a NOC team member. Uh, for the no, for the others who doesn't know what is NOC, like I used to work in a network operations, uh, like handling the monitoring the screens and watching the alerts and informing to other team members if any alert comes, like kind of basic non-IT operation or little IT operations that I used to do. And I desperately want to upskill in my career. All right. So I was like on-premises environment I used to work. So I always want to upskill my career. Like I don't know where to start. So someone told that cloud is a good option for you. Okay, in my office someone told cloud is a good option for you, so I was exploring, and in that process I came across this AWS cloud. Then I become a cloud engineer, then I become a AWS DevOps engineer. Currently I'm working as a AWS DevOps engineer and AWS a community builder. So I do train people who all are from non-IT background, and I help them to get into IT jobs. And I do maintain a YouTube channel. It's around like 55K subscribers, but basically that is in Telugu. Okay, so I train people in a Telugu mode. I believe when I share something in my mother tongue, and when the audience learn in their mother tongue, the way they get the knowledge and the power of grasping will be more. Okay, I'll share that anyways. Okay, yeah, as I said, I started as a NOC team member. Later, I've discovered AWS and I realized AWS is my career. So I like as a beginner, like everyone, I used to get errors. I used to get into errors. I used to break, and I started learning. I started hands-on. So that's how I started learning. And I always believed whenever whatever I learned, whatever I practiced, I should share with everyone. So not this not only benefits other person, but actually it benefits me. Okay, it will, improve my conceptual clarity. It will improve my troubleshooting skills. That's how I started sharing my knowledge. Whatever I do, even a small thing, as a beginner also, I used to share with others. Even no, easy to instance creation, or in at those days S3 bucket creation. Whatever I learned, I used to share with my colleagues in my in my shifts. That's how I started learning. So I strongly believe, like, whatever I teach, okay, so that makes me even much better in my learning journey. And in that process, I observed there is a language barrier. Basically, I hail from Telangana. It's a Telugu speaking state. So I observed, though there are a lot of people who would like to learn cloud, and there is a language barrier, even I also feel little uncomfortable when I teach in English. At the same time, when I teach in my mother tongue Telugu, the the delivery, the quality of the delivery, and the grasping power of the people is much higher. So there I got an opportunity, and I wanted to bridge a gap. Okay, so there people would like to learn cloud, but there is a language barrier. So I thought, why can't I be a bridge? So I started a YouTube channel, Telugu channel, and in that Telugu platform, I started sharing my knowledge. And today that has grown into 55K subscribers community. All right, yeah. So yeah, now like I'm working as a DevOps engineer. So I take care of cloud operations and automation on using DevOps operations. So here my mission is this, IT career should not require a computer science degree. Even anyone from IT background, non-IT background, computer science background, non-computer science background, anyone should be get into the IT industry, cloud industry, like cloud platforms, only provided he has a passion. That is what my belief. So anyone who would like to come into IT, we should welcome. So for them, I'm helping with my uh, knowledge sharing in simple way. I train non-IT professionals into real AWS and DevOps roles. Uh, okay. With your permissions, may I share my YouTube channel? So yeah. So yeah, this is my YouTube channel. So it's basically in Telugu. So I share my knowledge. Whatever I have, I'll share my knowledge. So it's around like 56K subscribers. What makes me proud is, yes, of course, I've got recognized by AWS. I'm really thankful and grateful to the AWS community. More than that, I get, okay, I'll share content like this in Telugu. I'll help people to learn DevOps and cloud. And I do get testimonials from people. See, you can see there are few people like Mahesh. He's from non-IT background. He used to work in a BPO, and he, reached me with zero knowledge on cloud, zero knowledge on DevOps, and whatever I know, I shared, and he got the job. So these kind of testimonials makes me satisfied. And there are people from uh, homemakers, housewives, and this guy, Harinath, he returned from USA. For obvious reasons, he was unable to get the job in USA, and he came here and he learned cloud and DevOps, and today he got job. He's working in a good MNC. So these kind of testimonials are making me uh, happy, satisfied, and yeah, these kind of things. And there is a girl called few freshers, getting into IT, helping them, and of late I am reaching to Tier 2 and Tier 3 colleges, helping them understanding the cloud and DevOps skills. So, and yeah, so you might walk through this. Yeah, you can meet, Priyanka. She used to be a cop. She used to be a police officer in a government sector, and she left her job because of the compatibility issues, and now she is working as a cloud and DevOps engineer. So these are some of the things I would like to share. So that making me happy and ongoing. And coming back to our presentation, okay, so my mission is that simple. Everyone who would like to learn cloud, there shouldn't be any language barrier. There shouldn't be any degree barrier or computer science degree barrier, something like that. Anyone should be able to learn cloud. The candidate can be a homemaker, the candidate can have a career gap, or maybe he's from other background. So my focus is on the concepts, the hands-on concepts and the practical learning, whether the candidate is able to uh, grasping the concepts easily or not, is he job ready, these kind of things I'm focusing at the moment. In this process I'm also learning. It's not like I'm helping others. In this process I'm learning my and I'm improving myself. So it's a great opportunity for me, as I said. So I've seen there is a barrier. Okay, so I started teaching in Telugu, and when I teach in Telugu, people are grasping it fast, especially in my state. Okay, so that I feel something differentiates me from others. And what I believe is not theory. Only learning theory will not help me and will not help others. So first, what I will I'll teach and I'll practice and I'll let them others practice, and I'll kind of hands-on labs. I'll encourage people to do hands-on sessions, do projects, and get into errors, break the systems, then again fix it, and finally they'll become confident, something like that. So in this process, I must say thanks to AWS. Why? Because this is all possible with AWS free tier account. So I started with AWS free tier account, learning AWS, and even my YouTube subscribers and my community members, I'll encourage them to create a free tier account. With the free tier account, they'll get this free credits, and that's like kind of kickstart for everyone. And I'm really thankful for that to AWS. Even I observed there are some services, let's say EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service, that is doesn't come under the free tier. So whenever my subscribers or my learners, explore that, they might get some billing, but AWS is really generous and very liberal to waive off that bill as well whenever required, whenever requested. So that I have observed in this community, like helping nature. So I'm really, thankful for that. And okay, and yeah, uh, practicing on the AWS free tier, hundreds of students explore and build using free tier. So where computer, cloud computing, not just theory, it's basically hands-on, practical. Even a lot of services, even if the bill comes also, AWS is liberal to waive off the bills. So, and at this moment, I'm working as a cloud and DevOps engineer, but I would like to be relevant in the IT industry. So, I'm started exploring AIOps as well, like AWS AI services like Bedrock Service, SageMaker. I'm started learning slowly. I'm learning, and I'm sure I'll share with others. I believe whatever I learn, I must share with others, so that helps me in my conceptual clarity and my troubleshooting skills, and also it will help others. So at this moment, I'm learning and I'm mentoring the students. So in simple words, I can say I used to be no one. Today, at least I'm someone. Few people know me. I'm guiding few people. I'm improving myself. So this is all because of this AWS. And in this process, so this led me to be a community builder today. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you, AWS. And yeah, I'm reaching tier 2 and tier 3 colleges. I'm conducting workshops. I'm bringing awareness about AWS, and letting people to practice on the free tier. I'm not showing up in person, not just online. Yeah, what I teach basically, whatever I do in my office day-to-day work, I'll teach. Like I'll start from scratch, like creating a free tier account, spinning up a EC2 server, creating a VPC, creating a two-tier project, three-tier project, IAM security. Okay, and coming to containers, I'll help them to explore Docker and EKS, Kubernetes services, CI/CD pipelines, and I'll tell them, no, this we need to make it highly available and reliable. For that, we need CloudWatch, we need to monitor, we need observability stacks, SRE stacks. So these all things I'll help people train them. In that process, I'll also get more knowledge. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to share for today. Yeah, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hiromi.
Yeah, thank you. So, your YouTube channel looks so amazing. So
Thank you so much.
please
It's all
see,
because of the cloud only.
please sharing YouTube channel URL on Zoom chat.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I see,
sure.
yeah. I see we have a question in the chat, Zoom chat.
Yep. Let me share. It's Madhu Kiran on my name. Okay. Let me share in the Zoom chat. Yep, sure. Okay, let me going through the messages. Okay. Oh, yeah, I've shared my Zoom chat. Okay, so what do you think? Is it easy to get in cloud computing as a fresher? Yeah, so getting a fresher into IT industry is little difficult. Not only cloud, not only DevOps. Being a fresher, if he gets a job in a campus, that's easy. Once he comes out of the campus, the struggle will start. At least in India, what I've observed, getting a job as a fresher is little difficult since the huge competition because a lot of colleges are there. Every year, a lot of students are coming out of colleges and there are no that kind of no, job openings to accommodate all the freshers. But what I have observed, if the fresher is skilled enough, he can crack the job. Maybe today or tomorrow, sooner or later, definitely a fresher can get into the IT industry, especially into cloud and DevOps. There are openings. Hope that address your question. And what are your opinion about AI? Is this field remain relevant in long term? What are the chances of AI replacing IT? I don't think AI will replace IT, but I believe AI will help IT. We need to enhance our work with the help of IT. Isn't it? We need to enhance our work, day-to-day operations with the help of IT. It will be kind of AI plus IT, not AI replacing IT or AI, no, shadowing something. Like it is like AI plus cloud, AI plus DevOps, AI plus IT industry. It's not like opposite side. It will go hand in hand. We need to use AI to enhance our day-to-day operations. That is what my opinion. Maybe others can share their opinions. Thank you, Brand. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Yeah, feel free to ask me anything.
Any last question?
Sure.
Okay, let's give Vadio another big thank you. So and the Telugu, that
Yeah,
was
Telugu is a regional language here. Yeah, so it's in one of the south states of India.
ah okay. So and as a Japanese person, so I really understand the challenges of language barriers.
Yes.
Telugu too.
True.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you. So now let's move on to next speakers. So Felia, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Oh, ready?
Can you just give me 2 minutes?
Okay. Okay, Telugu. It's very interesting language. Okay, take your time.
Okay, sorry.
No worry, no worry. Take your time. Take your time.
Can you see me?
Yes,
Yeah.
very
Sorry, I
clear.
just came back.
Hi,
Came
nice to
back
meet
from
you.
just now I came back from work, so I'm just in a
Oh,
hurry. Yeah.
thank you so much.
So let me share my screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Very
back.
good. Welcome back again.
Yeah. Okay. Is my screen visible?
Um, yes, perfect.
It is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sorry for the delay.
No
Sorry,
worry. No worry.
yeah, sorry for
Here
making
goes.
you wait. So I am Felina Christie from Chennai, India, southmost part of India. So thank you for having me here, Hiromi. I saw your post on AWS Builder Center, and I got really excited to actually present here. So I thought of speaking of what I'm actually doing and what actually excites me about AWS and what service I've been using for so long for these past months, and then I could share my experience with that and also show you what those services can do. That was my idea on today's topic. So uh, first introduction about me is that I work in TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, as a Gen AI developer, and I have 1.2 years of experience. So from my starting, I started on doing ML based projects where I did study all those ML algorithms by heart, because and also why I chose ML, because I am a mathematics student, MSc mathematics student. So that was closely related. AI and maths are very closely related, and I was so genuinely happy to see the connection coming into place when I started learning AI. Because when I was studying mathematics, I always see everything in theory. I don't know where it actually comes into play. I don't know what actually happens. They say linear space, n-dimensional space, and everything. We write theorems, we derive theorems. But when I started uh, learning AI, I was like, I was so happy to actually see how that came into play. I just saw, I just got to know what n-dimensional space is. I just got to picture it, and then and that fascinated me. And then I started working as an AI developer, and I am now almost 2 years of experience. So and recently I've been mostly involved in building AI agents. So everywhere the AI agents is a big buzz topic, where everybody is very interested to create any AI agent in their personal workflows. For any small task to every bigger tasks, everybody is very interested to create AI agents. So there was a situation where I actually created a um, agent. I demoed, everybody clapped, and then it actually took us 4 months to actually put that into a real production and make real users use. And that made me stop and think, like, we can actually demo creating an agent and everybody's so excited, but what about in production? The real challenge everybody is facing in IT today in the IT sector today is how can you bring up agents into production? Everybody's talking about agents everywhere. Everybody's saying AI frameworks, strands, LangChain, Crew AI, and everything. But how can you bring that in production? How can real users actually use that? And that made me stop and think. And there was a customer actually where we interacted to a customer, and they came in and they said, okay, all this is fine, this is very catchy, very eye catching and everything, but how can you implement this in my system? How fast you can implement this in my system and every real users can use? And that is what changed everything. And tonight we are actually going to bridge that gap and see how AWS services which exist um, can actually help you bring a prototype into a production in less than 12 weeks. That is what I thought of actually saying, because that is what I'm trying, that is what my day-to-day job is. And if I speak about that and share my findings to others, I thought it would be really a nicer session. So here you can see there are two Gartner numbers, both from last year. 40% of enterprise applications will have task-specific AI agents. But by the end of this year, so up from under 5%, that that's the forecast anymore. So that's basically now what is going to happening. And over 40% of agentic AI projects will be cancelled by the end of 2027. So which because of the escalating cost, unclear business value, not every agent is actually going to be useful. So that's the actual point. So did you notice something on this list? What is not on this list? For some reasons, nobody project dies because the model wasn't smart enough. They die because of the cost, value, and the controls. Everybody can create agents, everybody can put them into production, but what actually matters is their cost. How much are you ready to pay? How much are you ready to manage those agents? How can you put those guardrails for the agent and then make them work effectively? And are they smart enough? And how can you control them? That is what actually matters here. So which brings me to the line I would like you to take home is, even if you forget, that is, everyone can build an agent, almost nobody can operate one. So everybody, that's the gap what agent core in AWS actually bridges, because everybody everywhere around the world can create an agent, but who can actually operate one? So someone who can operate is someone who's going to control the future world. That is what my thought is. So are you guys with me, or I'm just out of topic, or I'm going fast? Anything?
Yes, we are here. Good
Oh, okay.
presentation. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thanks. So as I told you, how I got into AWS. So I said I work in an IT, right? So I don't like AWS in the first place. I disliked AWS services, where I never wanted to do anything in AWS. Where one day my manager came in and told me, please please study AWS for me. Please create one agent and deploy it somewhere, and then you tell me the difference of what is. I prefer some other cloud service, but she came and she told me that please actually study AWS, and I was like, I'm not still studying in college. Why is she actually coming and asking me to study? And she was like, she started pushing me. She asked me to study AWS. She asked me to do all these things, see all these things. And I was like, okay. I was fed up with her pushing, and then I said, okay, I will try. And then after I started using simple services, where she taught me everything. She taught me what Lambda is, what CloudFront is, how you access an LLM step by step. She taught me everything, and it actually helped me, and it actually interested me to say. So I started using AWS services on my own, and I was like, and she pushed me to write blogs about it, technical blogs about it, and I started writing technical blogs in AWS Builder Center, which was actually recognized by the builders, and then I got an opportunity of becoming a community builder this year. So So that was my journey is, and then I'm full into AWS now. I, I was contrary to the 1.5 years back, where I don't speak, where I don't like about speaking AWS. Now I actually speak about AWS everywhere. So AWS, not alone speak, but practice AWS everywhere. So this is my journey. From there I got here, and then I'm now building agents in AWS. So this slide, you can see this is a shape of every agent project I've been on. 2 weeks to demo and 6 months to production. So the left side of the curve is a actual fun part, a prompt, some tools, a loop, and a notebook. It goes fast in it, and it feels like you are nearly done. Then you hit a cliff where, and that cliff isn't AI. And that cliff isn't AI work at all. It's authentication, session isolation, memory, secret rotation. So AI can do all the part, and then you hit a cliff where you actually want to guide it, observe it. You have to put in a memory, and then there is where your all your work comes crashing down. And there is also different. And there are the different reasons in the cliff, which is tracing, quotas, rollback, cost, guardrail, security, and so on. This is what most of the developers actually face. They are usually good in all the prompt engineering, development, deployment, and everything. But when it comes to controlling your agent, that is where the biggest trouble is. And I think every developers and every organization are facing this problem nowadays. So what production actually costs? So here's a cliff written out of the questions where the most of the questions come from the customers or your higher authorities. Where does it run? What stops it doing something dumb? Why is it not giving good answers? Does it remember where memory comes into play? Why did it do that? Security, guardrails. So these are the questions which you encounter after building an agent. So so that's what and the Amazon Agent Core Bedrock or Amazon Agent Core itself is going to cover, where it bridges a gap between those cliff and the bottom. So I would like to put that in, I would like to put Amazon Bedrock Agent Core in one line, saying that it is a boring infrastructure under an interesting agent. It is very boring. Like you say, okay, I have to put this agent in this wrapper. I have to use Boto 3. I have to, it is a very boring architecture. Okay, Boto 3 wrapper, so on and so on. But when it that boring architecture becomes the becomes the shape of an interesting agent, where only when those architecture are in place you get an interesting agent. So that's how I put a Bedrock Agent Core in one frame. And the most important thing about it is not a framework. AWS could have shipped the AWS way to build agents and asked you to rewrite everything. They did not. They did not put it as a framework. So it is modular with 13 services, and you can take one. Like, not all services might be necessary, might not be necessary, but all 13 services are being rolled out in Amazon Bedrock, which can be very useful for your agents when you run into production. And so that is all about Amazon Agent Core. So let's see what happens. So 13 months of shipping. Quick history, because the pace actually matters on what context I'm going to set now. So July 2025, preview, 7 services, 4 regions. I'm talking about the timeline of Amazon Agent Core. So October 2025, 9 regions. They spread out from 7 to 9 regions, and importantly for us in India, where Mumbai was there. And in December, policy and evaluations in preview. March this year, both GA, the harness went GA, which I'll actually come back to. And 3 days ago, payments went live, and this services shipped something roughly every month. So 2 numbers on adoption. 2 million SDK downloads within 5 months of preview, 20 regions now. So, and the thing on the right is, honestly, the reason a lot of teams are moving. The old Bedrock agent service, now called Agents Classic. So they went into maintenance mode on July 30th, and then now it's not deprecated, but it is existing. So this is the timeline of what actually happened, the evaluation of Agent Core, how it was launched at first, and its process till now. So this is some of the rough timeline I picked up from the web. So as I spoke about the 13 services, these are all the 13 services available now: harness, runtime, gateway, memory, identity, observability, policy, evaluations, browser, code interpreter, optimization, payments, and registry. So here, not all services are required for your agent to for you to actually govern your agent, but mostly agent core runtime is necessary, where you deploy your agents in the agent core runtime, where you wrap it in the runtime wrapper, and then you push your ECR image build into runtime, and then you get your agent deployed. Gateway, where you have different services connected, your MCPs, your other tools, your Lambda functions connected to your agents. Memory, where you actually, there are two types of memory in Agent Core, which is short term and long term, where you can have you say, for example, the one thing I would share a very interesting thing, what happened to my agents in production. There was a retail agent where I deployed, it was in testing phase only, where I deployed my retail agent in deployment, and I asked question on where my order is. It said your order will come today. And again, tomorrow, I asked the same question, and it says, what is your order? Please give me your details again. I thought, why can't it remember? I asked the same question yesterday, but why was not it able to remember me? And then I found out the infrastructure, which is memory. And then I put that into my agent. I used short term. So my agents does not forget on what the customer is, and they don't want to put their information back again. So I just implemented that. So that was the interesting thing. That was a trial and error method where I found out what memory is, and identity, observability is your CloudWatch logs, and so on. So harness, policy, evaluation, and all, it was the latest features, but these are the 13 features available in Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, where you can actually use to where you can actually use this and build your agents better and deploy them in the production environment. So as I said, the runtime is where you start, where you deploy it, and then you put your agents into production. So you can put them in separate micro VMs, VPCs, anywhere. You can connect to any services where, and so on. So I don't want to explain it further and bore you with all these topics, but I'll just skim through all these things so that you don't get bored of my presentation. Okay, so this is runtime and gateway, as I said, where you can connect different MCP tools to your agents, or different Lambda functions, or any different AWS services itself, or other services. You can use gateway. And memory, as I spoke about, which is the short-term memory and long-term memory, where you can use in order to make your agent not forget of all those information. You can put, an interesting thing is, you can have different what do you call it? You can have different variables, and then define your memory, where you can define different variables, where your agent can go pick and then find. So it's a very interesting thing, which actually fascinated me. I think if you like, please try on and try all these memory thing. And next is the policy, where identity and policy comes into play, where you want to define any policy. So if you want to have any prompt injection, if there is any prompt injection happens in your system, how your agent can actually tackle it. So policy will be useful, guardrails will come into play, and so on. So next is the observability, which is open telemetry or CloudWatch logs, where you get alarms of of your agent's action, and you can take actions accordingly. And you can see your model's performance every day, and then you can change everything. So this is one of the very good features where you can actually monitor your agent logs. So that is what we actually need, right? In today's world, any AI agent can do anything. It can do anything. It can either enter into your own network system and hack your computers or take your money. It can do anything. So observability is what we actually need. So harness it, what you can skip and what you can keep. And let me actually show you what actually happens and see how all these agents come into play. How for every action happening, what are all the services being um, called, and how they interrupt and how they engage. This is the I mean, low level view of what happens with all these services. So so this is what you don't pay for thinking time, you do pay for the memory. So the cost, where I said cost comes into play here, where you actually have to think about the cost of your agent and so on. So a typical agent can run 1.5 seconds of GPU, 8 seconds waiting for the model to actually respond. So how you can control cost optimizations, prompt optimizations, where you can effectively control token consumption and so on. We have to think about that when you deploy an agent to production. So um so so if I just want to ask, is anyone actually using this for your work day or anything? Have you actually tried using Amazon Bedrock Agent Core? But, oh, you are. Oh, okay, nice. So actually, I want you to actually try it as a small project. See how all these services work, how all the models work. There is also a section called prompt management, and there is also a section where you can compare between models. That is actually really useful, where you can compare the token consumption, input and output tokens, and so on. So I want you to actually look in through that. And well, so I just want you to say that start building your agents. When you try building your agent, you keep all these things in your mind, the guardrails, the security, the cost, memory, and how are you going to manage. That is all matters. And as I said before, anybody can build agent, but the one who can manage an agent which is deployed in the cloud is someone who is a superhero. I put that in that word. So anybody can build, but I just want you to, when you build, please have all these things in your mind and have your agent in your control. Your agent should not control you, and you must be the one to actually control your agent, and have human in loop in every workflows you have. And do not make any decisions, do not give the final decisions call to your agent. So that's it. So this is what Agent Core is all about. So this is what actually excited me and make me speak for 20 minutes. And yeah, I also wish you guys to build this, and yeah, and let me know. That's it.
Leah, Lina, thank you so much for your talk today. Thank you. So, you said memorizing ML algorithm. That's amazing. So, okay, all right. Does anyone else have any question or comments? And I see some comments. Okay. From Brian.
Of course. Of course. See, what I just said was I studied mathematics, so I was able to actually understand what actually happens if mathematics does not matter. Only your thinking skill and your how you can manage an AI is what all is important. No mathematics study is important, but knowing some things might be useful if you go into research, so that kind of professional category. But if you are going to actually become as an AI developer, or you're going to develop things with already existing services, then maths is not at all important. All important is your logic and understanding.
Yeah, exactly. Last one, Mike. All right. Okay, so thank you so much. So I think companies that are success free, or sorry, so using generative AI and in production have a few things in common: good guardrails and clear rules and a strong protection, skilled people, and of course, cost optimization.
Exactly.
Yeah, very difficult.
I'll give you an example. If you guys try Claude desktop, Claude AI.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So
Yes,
if
yes.
you try Claude and ask it to create an image, say if you give an image, example image, and ask it
Mhm,
to create the same image, or ask it to go into a website, and if there is an AI policy there, and if you ask it to type it against the AI
mhm,
policy, it will not do. It will say, I'm sorry, I will not do this task for you. It is
Thank
against
you.
the policy, or
Yeah,
it is against the guardrail. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
take Anthropic as an example. It is a very big company. It can generate so many content, but the only important thing they have is a guardrail.
Yeah, yeah,
They,
yeah.
they know where to stop their agents. So that is what other companies are missing.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. Okay, all right. Thank you again, Felina. So, thank you. Now let's welcome our final speakers. So, Mahendra, are you ready?
Ye- Yep, Hiromi, finally.
Yeah, finally,
Mm,
ready.
no one sure able to see my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Oh,
able
your
to see my
cap is very cool. Funny.
So you are able to see my screen, correct?
Yeah, perfect.
Yep. So hello everyone. So thanks for joining this wonderful session. So I'm keep on talking in this platform. So because Hiromi organizing that event every month, I'm also contributing that event every month. So if I possible. So thanks once again for joining this call. So in this today's talk, so what we are going to discuss, so because I'm going to explain so how we can build and deploy that MCP server with Amazon Concrete OAuth, and Felina is here my job because she explained very well in that Amazon beta architecture how we can use and what are the feasibility and features available in that Amazon beta architecture course. That eases my job. So before that, I'm Mahendran Selvakumar. I work senior cloud and DevSecOps engineer at Tata Consultancy Services, and also I'm one of the AWS community builder, and also that IBM champion, and also that AWS user group leader. So, same like Hiromi. So I'm the organizer for two user groups. One is running in the India, and another one running in UK. So we are hosting online and offline events frequently, and also I'm one of the AWS ambassador from TCS. So what is MCP? So how many of you using MCP? So anybody using MCP? Okay, so MCP is nothing but smarter context protocol. So why we are using that MCP? Because nowadays we are using API, correct? So using that API, we are connecting multiple tools like that API, file services, and data, and we are getting data from multiple sources. So because all the sources we are using a different API on some like same APIs, but in that case, instead of that having that multiple APIs, multiple data sources, so the MCP server works as the extension. So by using that MCP server, it will connect that particular data sources, getting the data from the data sources and give the resources. So how MCP server is working? So as per the diagram, so because when you use that AI application like that ChatGPT or Cloud Desktop or some other application, so it's trying to connect with that MCP client. So because so you can add that MCP server in that MCP clients like that client desktop, I mean Cloud Desktop and ChatGPT and other things as well. Because so once you add that MCP clients, once it will have the configuration, correct? The particular MCP server configuration, because nowadays all the major services like the cloud native ecosystem, most of the companies released their own MCP server, and also AWS also released multiple MCP servers. So based on that services like that IAM MCP server, well architect security MCP server, and lot of the MCP server released, even documentation MCP server, because this easier the job, because we can connect that particular MCP server in that client. The once we connected that particular client, so we can get the data from the MCP server based on that feed. So because the same like that we can configure the MCP server. That MCP server have two protocols. One is that STDO and another is streamer HTTP. So if you are MCP server connecting your local data, then it will be connecting via the STDO port. And also if it's connecting via the streamer HTTP, the remote MCP server, we can connect via the streamer HTTP. So now in the latest session, I will show how we can configure that streamer HTTP. So how we configure that MCP server, how we connected that particular protocol in that one. So based on the transport, it will connect that one. In that MCP server, there are three core components available. One is the tool, another one is the resources, and another one is the prompts. Because what tools will be do? So it's because tool call the function, because it will do that particular invoke. So because it will get the data, it will try to call the functionality. So based on the functionality, it will find out the resource, because what is the resources, where it is will be available. So based on the resources available, like that particular resources available in that databases, particular resources available in the different server, particular resources available in that file. So because all these things will be connected in that particular resources, based on the resources, it will be fetch the data. And also how that MCP server working, because we can create that particular reusable prompt templates based on that prompt. So it will connect that particular MCP server and get the data. So why we need that MCP server? As I said earlier, see here we have that different type of application, different type of tools, correct? But for example, so app A needs to connect with that app one, tool two, and tool three, and also that same app B connect with that tool one, tool two, tool three, and the same like that. Another application also need to connect with the tool one, tool two, and tool three. Because in that case, so different application, different tools will be interconnected, correct? But if you are using that MCP, we can mitigate that integrations problem, because between that these AI apps and also the tools. Because see now what we are going, so we can use that MCP as the broker in the centralized extension, like that extension. So all the apps should be connected with that MCP server. That MCP server connected with that tool. So because it's connected with the particularly with the tool one, tool two, and tool three. So MCP server works as the mediators. In the based on the mediator, it's connect with that uh, application, also the tools. So the tools provide the data, because whenever the application calls, the tools provide the data. And also once we configure the MCP server, so we can use with that any compatible MCP clients like that Cloud Desktop and Cursor, and also that other things, GitHub Copilot, and all these things we can use. And next thing is what is Amazon Bedrock Agent Core? So in that using that, so previously what we have, so we have Amazon Bedrock, correct? In that Amazon Bedrock, we can configure the RAG, we can configure the agent, and all these things we can configure. But once AWS introduced that Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, we can able to configure that. Runtime and gateways, identity, memory, and observability. So these all things they all do with the different features and different capabilities. So like runtime, so we can host our MCP server agents in the particular serverless environment. We don't need to provision that any environment, correct? We just need to host our MCP server or AI agents. It's automatically run. And for example, if you use that multiple MCP server or multiple agents, we can connect all these MCP server and agents and APIs with that Amazon Bedrock Agent Core Gateway. So when we use the Agent Core Gateway, this works with that front end, and all these things will be work as the backend. So that's what it will. And also we can manage that identity using that Agent Core identity, and also and the main part is that memory, because as Felina said, so because memory is correct. So when we call that particular MCP server or AA agent, so when we access the next time, it will ask the same questions again. This is the drawback of that particular MCP server and AA agents, correct? That's what the memory will be introduced. So based on the memory, so reach the recall that particular context and across the session. Once recall that particular session, it will get that earlier data, and it will reduce the token as well. So and the same thing we can have that observability. In the using that observability, we can find out that how the agents works in the production, how it will be works for the other agents, and MCP server works in the production. So why Amazon Bedrock Agent Score? Correct. So because we know, so what are the features available in Amazon Bedrock Agent Score, but we need to know, correct. So why we are using, because in that Amazon Bedrock Agent course, we can run that MCP server like remotely without configuring any operating systems like that. We don't need to configure that EC2 instance. We don't need to configure that ECS services or EKS to run that MCP server. And also we can host that particular remote hosting as well, because when you host that MCP server in Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, so it will provide that endpoint. So based on the endpoint, we can access that endpoint in the remote. That's what I will show in today's demo, because we will get that remote hosting as well. We can get the endpoint as well, because when you use the endpoint, it's automatically invocate with that particular agent. So you can use that particular endpoint with that particular client systems and the client applications and client scripts. We can use that particular endpoint, and we can get that particular data. And also not only in that hosting part, so we can authenticate, and we can integrate that particular MCP server agents using that Cognito, because in that MCP server, we can use the Cognito as that Cognito, and using the Cognito, it will use that custom JWT authorizer. So based on the custom JWT authorizer, so we can use that in that particular resources and particular data and particular uh, uh, client system. So when client system trying to access that particular Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, first it will authenticate that Cognito, and based on that it will provide. So in that IAM role perspective, because it's I have added these points based on that my MCP server, because I have created one MCP server based on that, and I have added these details. And how we can ship that particular MCP server or AI agents in that Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, we can ship our sources to the zip file. So based on the zip file, it will added in that particular S3 bucket. Based on the S3 bucket, it will deploy into the Amazon Bedrock Agent Core. So what we are building, because as I said, I have created one MCP server, correct? So I just created that AWS resource MCP server. This resource MCP server, what it will do only that get caller identity, and also list bucket, and also the discrepancy. But for this talk and for this demo, I have created the simple MCP server. For this simple MCP server, it will do three types of tools. So because one is STS, and another one is Amazon S3, and another one is Amazon EC2. And this MCP server hosted in that Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, and it will be integrated with that Amazon Cognito. So using that Amazon Cognito, the particular client system or MCP inspector will authenticate using that OAuth. So as I said, so this is the MCP server, how the MCP server was configured. So in that MCP server resources, I have used the MCP server.py. In that MCP server.py configured with that Python, and also it has that MCP SDK, and also it has that Boto3. As I said, earlier, correct, how the MCP server will be transport, because whether it should be transport with that STDIO or else streamable HTTP, correct. So in our MCP server will be using the streamable HTTP transport. Because why we are using the streamable HTTP? Because if whether your MCP server running in local, it will be using the SDIO. But if our MCP server are going to run in that Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, correct? So based on that Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, it will be exposed in the 0.0, so the wider range of 0.0.0 in that particular port, and also the MCP, because it will call that each tool and provide the resources. So as I said earlier, so this will in the resources I have created for the demo purpose, it will do three activities. One is that get AWS identity, and also the list by S3 bucket and list EC2 instance. So this is a high level architecture of my AWS my AWS resources MCP server. As I said, so here you can able to see that MCP inspector, correct. The MCP inspector can able to try access that particular Amazon Bedrock Agent Core. In that Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, it will be hosted in the AWS resources MCP server. So the AWS resources MCP server expose the three types of tool, and also it will call the services, correct. For examples, when a user trying to access that particular Amazon MCP server, first it will use the username and password, and based on that Amazon Cognito, because using that Amazon Cognito, we have configured a user pool and also the app client, because based on the app client, so we'll get that bearer token. So based on that bearer token, it will configure in the Amazon Bedrock Agent Core. See, in that Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, so we configured with the protocol and also the transport and authorizer, because here we have used a custom JWT. So in the JWT, we are using that OIDC authentication. So we have used that one. And once we configured, so when we configure that particular agent core, it will validate that particular JWT token. Once token is validated, it will try to get the details. So see, for example, so if when the for in this demo, I will show that how we can connect that particular Amazon Bedrock Agent Core MCP server using MCP server hosted in Amazon Bedrock Agent Core using the MCP inspector. See here, when we trying to access that MCP server, what it will do, it will call that particular three tools. The one is the caller identity, and the list bucket, and then the description instance, correct. And also we need that IAM roles, because when we create the Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, it will create that by default role. So the role have some default permissions for permissions with that Amazon Bedrock Agent Core. But when we for this MCP server, we need that access for list bucket and describe instances, and also get caller identity, correct. So for that, we can provide, we can add that additional policy. So in that policy, I have given that particular three type of permissions. Once we given the permissions, so we can when user or MCP inspector trying to access that one, it will get the details and get the data from the MCP server. See how the MCP inspector we are using. So for using that MCP inspector, we can test that MCP server, because it hosted in the remotely based on the based on the remote, it will try to access that MCP server. So as I said, so I have that MCP server code. That this code will work in local, and also that is works in that remote as well, correct? So because one of the major thing in that Amazon Bedrock Agent Core is we can bring our own code as well. So when we use that existing MCP code, we can have the command we can have the command while deploy the agent core deploy. So we can configure that with that bring your own code. So when you provide that bring your own code, so it doesn't create that sample code on other things, because it will be configured with that particular code location. It will configure with that entry point, and also the how what are the protocol we are using, what are the project value we are using, and how it will be building. So all these things will be configured in that uh, when we run that agent code deploy. So it will all in running in that backend, and it will build that particular packages. So next thing is that, so how we can secure our runtime, correct? As I said, so because we are using the Amazon Cognito as that authorization. So based on that authorization, so because in that MCP server, two things is that mainly work and mainly configured, because one is authentication, another one is authorization. In that authorization part, so we have configured that Amazon Cognito. In that Amazon Cognito, we use configure user pool on app client. So based on that app client, so because it will issue that access token. So based on the access token, we can configure that in the Amazon Bedrock agent core. So when we configure that Amazon Bedrock agent core, whenever that client will call that particular Amazon Bedrock MCP server hosted in Amazon Bedrock agent core, it's automatically fetch that particular authorization token. So once the token is validated, it will provide the data. So that's what we'll show in that today's session. So the next thing is that IAM role, because as I said earlier, so the agent core run, when we create that agent core runtime, it will create the IAM role, correct? For our demo, I have used the three services. So based on that, it needs some extra permissions like that list bucket and all these to do script permissions. That's what I have given. And after that, it will fetch that particular AWS API. So based on that ATP API, it will provide the data. So as I said, so we have two type of things, correct? One is authentication and authorization. What is the difference between that authentication and authorization? So when authentication means, see, if you see, because that in that Amazon Cognito, check that particular bearer token, all these details, correct? So once details validated, so who can invoke? Because based on the whoever have that particular bearer token and the JW token, they can able to access that one. For example, I'm having that user pool access. So based on the user pool access, I am able to access that particular MCP server, and also the another person like Felina have that access. So if Felina have the access or the particular resources, she can able to access the particular MCP server hosted in that Amazon Bedrock agent. That's what we can able to do in that authentication. And same thing is that in that authorization. So the MCP server should authorize, correct? What are the resources can the server call? Because when we try to reach that MCP server, it should have access of that. What are the resources it should reach? What are the tools it should reach? So all these things details will be in that authorization. And the next thing is that, as I said, so we can test that MCP server with that MCP inspector, correct? Because in that MCP inspector, we need to configure three things. One is that transport in the transport part, as I said earlier. So because we are going to connect that remote MCP. So because the MCP hosted in the Amazon Beta Agent Go. So that's what we are going to use that remote stimulus TPS, the transport, and also we can use that runtime URL. So in the runtime URL, so we get, because agent core invocation will be happening. So based on the agent core invocation, so we will get the endpoint. So when we run that agent core status, so it will provide that state endpoint detail. Based on the endpoint detail, we will configure that one. And also we need to configure the custom header, because authorization we should provide, because we are using that OAuth. So based on the OAuth, we need to provide that authorization token. So once you provide the token, it will show that. So it will get the resources, and it will discover the resources and provide the details. So now I'm going to show the demo. So how it will be created. See, this is a Amazon Bedrock Agent Core console. So in that Amazon Bedrock Agent Core console, you can see that runtime. In the runtime, so you can able to see the resources. See, this is that AWS resource MCP server. So this is my MCP server. In this MCP server, see, if you see here, you can able to get that endpoint of my MCP server. See, this is my endpoint MCP server. So using that endpoint, we can able to access that particular MCP server from the client. And also when we deploy that, how I deployed that MCP server. So I have installed agent core CLI in my local. So once we install the agent core CLI, so first we need to create the project. Once we created the project, so we have that MCP server code, correct? So once we have the code, it should automatically create that agent core deploy. So when we run that agent core deploy, so it automatically create that some files. I will show the files, what are the files it will be created when I run that agent core deploy. So once we created the agent core deploy, the MCP server, that what are the agents will be deployed in that particular runtime. So it will deploy it here. So once we deploy it, so you can able to see that versions as well, because so it will be so whenever you want to change that particular resources, so it will automatically change. And also on another tool we need, so the agent core CLI will be installed using that node. So npm. So because in that case we need npm, and also we need that AWS CDK also. So because it will connecting through that CDK, because when you run that agent code deploy, what it will be do, it will create that cloud formation template. The cloud formation template will be create all the resources. For example, see, if you see here you can able to see all the details, correct? What are the discovery URL, what are the clients. See, these details will be need when when you can't get that bearer token. So this detail we need. And also see the source will be configured in the particular default. See, as I said, it will be built as a package, and the package will be stored in the S3 buckets. That's what is happening. So the MCP source will be stored in that particular S3 bucket, and also here we have the MCP server py. So because I have configured that MCP underscore server.py, based on the MCP server.py file, so it will work as that MCP server. As I said, I will show that CloudFormation template. If you see here, here you can able to see two CloudFormation template, correct? This is the template for the AWS resource MCP. That is I have cost hosted, and here you can able to see that resources. See here you can able to see that application will be created, and the runtime, and also then the runtime role, and deploy policy, and application, all these things. And the same like that, CDK metadata also created, and the same like that we have the CDK tool. So when you install the CDK tool, it will build and create the container setup. See, all these things will be happening in the when you run that Amazon Bedrock agent code deploy. So when you run that agent code deploy command, it automatically deploy the particular stacks in the CloudFormation stacks in that AWS resources. And as I said, I have that code, correct? See, see, I have the this is the MCP server.py entry point file. So in this entry point file, I have used that MCP server, and also I have used that MCP server protocol. See, if you see here we have used the three tools, correct? This is the one of the tool at mcp.tool. So this is the get AWS identity is the one of the tool. What the tool will be to, it will get the identity used by the SRC. See, it will get the what. It will run that particular STS get caller identity. See, just it will what are the AWS profile will configure. So it's just configured like that. And next tool is the list bucket. See what the tool will be doing. See, it will provide that what are the list S3 buckets available, and what are the buckets when it will be created, and all these details will be. And the same like that, we have the another tool. This tool is the list EC2 instance. So in the list EC2 instance, what are the EC2 instance running in that particular region? This all details will be created using that Python. So when we run that Python MCP underscore server.py, it will run that MCP server locally, and also we can get it. We can get access from that MCP inspector as well. And same like that, we have the uh, supported files like project.toml. So in this file we have used what Python version we need, and major thing is that we need to run that protocol as MCP application as well, correct? So what are the dependencies we need? That's also we have given in the MCP, and also the port 3. The same like that, we have that requirements that in the requirement DXT as well we have given. And as I said, so when we run that agent code deploy, so what it will be, see, it will create these files. See, in this agent code deploy, see, it will create the .cli files like the deployed state. So because how the files will be deployed, see what are the file name, what is that stack name. See, agent core AWS resource MCP default. See, this is the stack name, correct? See, it will provide once it's deployed. And same like that, see, it will provide the CDK details. In the CDK details, what are the values we have. So we don't need to do anything, because when we give that particular agent core deploy command, it will deploy all this values. So it has the sum of the steps. Based on the steps, it will do one is a build the CDK and compare the differentiation, all these things. And the major part is that, so these files will be created, because this file mainly used for the agent core functionality. Because see, in the runtime, how this will be, okay, see, because the agent core name is the AWS resource MCP, and also that what is that entry point. See, this is the entry point. What is the code location? See, where my code is available. So because I have code available in that AWS resource MCP server, the location I have shown previously, correct? So my code available in that particular station, and what is the runtime version and what is the network mode. So we can configure this endpoint runtime as that private as well. In the private means we can configure with that VPC as well, because now I have configured with that public. And also we can able to configure authorization as well. See here, you can able to see that authorizations like that MCP, custom JWT, and also that what is that discovery URL and allowed client. See, if you see in that Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, you can able to see that discovery, as I said earlier. So we can able to see that discovery URL, and also that you can able to see that particular entry point as well. So if you see, click. We click, see, here you can able to see that discovery URL. See the same discovery URL you can able to see here as well. See the discovery URL and allowed kinds, all these things will be. So based on, see here, once you configure that memories and all the other values, you can able to see the data of here. So this is what will be created, and also it will create that agents.empty as well. See in that agents.empty, it will have that what are the applications it's available, why we are using that particular application. See it will create all this details. So why we are using that see, this is the project. See, because when we run that agent core deploy, it will create that agent core MD file as well. It will provide that detailed explanation of that what's available in that particular agent core directory. So that's what happening in that when we run that agent core deploy. So this is what we can able to deploy that MCP server in Amazon Bedrock Agent course. So now what we are going to do, we are going to test that MCP server, correct? See, if you see here, this is the Amazon Bedrock Agent Core endpoint. So if you see, click here, I just show, see, this is the Amazon Bedrock Agent Core invocation endpoint. So when we have the Amazon Bedrock Agent Core invocation endpoint, so just it has how we can configure, we can configure using that steamable HTTP, and also we can able to use that custom shader. So before that I will show. See, now you can able to see that particular yeah, our AWS resource MCP server is connected. It's connecting using that Amazon Bedrock Agent Core runtime, and also you can able to see the tools. See, these are the tools available in the Amazon Bedrock Agent Core. So in our MCP server. So when I click that MCP server in one of the tool, if I execute the tool, it will get the details of that what is the identity of that resource. See, if you see here, this is the role. So this role will be used to configure that Amazon Bedrock Agent Core. And the same like that, if you run that list S3 bucket tool, see, it will provide that all S3 bucket. This S3 bucket available in my particular region, particular AWS account. See, these are the account I have used. So I have used that account. So it will be provided. And the same like that, I have configured one of the EC2 instance. So when I run that this tool, it will provide that EC2 instance detail. See, you can see that particular instance ID is that 37303, correct? So I'm going to show that to you. So I'm going to click the EC2 instance. In the EC2 instance, see, you can able to see that 7303. See, the both instance ID, because it will fetching the details from that AWS instance. Based on that one, it will provide the details. So how we can configure that MCP server, correct? Here, see, I just use that URL, discovery URL, and also I sorry, the endpoint URL, and also I have used that protocol as the streamable HTTP. So, and also I have used some name. And one the main part is that we need to know, correct, how where I have configured that authorization. So because the server connect this client, the MCP inspector connecting the client using that authorizations, correct? See, like if you see here in the custom vector, I have ordered that authorization. So when I click give the authorization and all the bearer value, see in the bearer and also the token. So based on the token, so it will connect, try to connect. So if the it won't connect, it will have some issues, you will get the error here. It won't connect that particular MCP server, and it will throw that error as well. And one more thing is that it's connect with that Amazon Cognito, correct? Sorry, I will show that as well. So in that Amazon Cognito, see, in that Amazon Cognito, it has that user pool. So in that user pool, we have that we have that particular resource as well, and also we have that app client as well. So this app client will be used in that Amazon Bedrock agent core. See, and also I have given the token expiration, because here I have given the token expiration as that 360 minutes. So if it's not, what it will be, because it will by default it will refresh in that every 1 hour. So that's what it will be doing. So see, this is what happening in that Amazon Bedrock agent core. And one more thing is that how we can initiate that MCP inspector. See, as I said, so this all will be running with that node. So once you install that node MCP inspector, so what is the use of MCP inspector means, because before deploying the particular MCP server in production, you can validate the tool in your local. So because you can able to validate, so like that. See, now it's provide the outputs correct, like that. It's provide that list S3 buckets, and also it's provide that EC2 instance, and also it's provide that color identity. So all these details provide the output. The same like that we can able to configure in that things. So see here, once you run that particular inspector commands, what it will be, it will try to run that local commands. Once you got that particular command, so what it will be, so you can able to access that particular MCP server, and you can able to access your MCP server and validate that tools. See, here you can able to validate, and also you can able to if you use the prompt templates and prompts, you can able to do those things as well. So I didn't configure any resources and prompts here. I just configured only tools. That's what I got the output from here. So that's all for the today's talk. So anybody have any question? Anybody have any questions?
So I think we have a comment on Zoom chat
Yep, I can
from
see.
Habib.
I'm using a yep. So instead of thanks Jagit. So instead of using that MCP to apply your jobs, try to create that MCP server. So first you try to create a simple MCP server. You don't need to create that complex or large MCP server. Okay? You just create a simple MCP server. So as a like me, because for this demo I just created the MCP server on 2 days back. 2 days on I walk around. So this is only provide that output to have S3 buckets and EC2 instance, correct? So the same like that you can able to configure create that MCP server, and you can deploy that MCP server in the Amazon Bedrock agent core.
That's clear?
Anybody have any questions? Sorry, I forgot to add my LinkedIn QR code in my slide. So if anyone not connected in my LinkedIn, I'm happy to chat about the AI and cloud and DevOps, and happy to share my knowledge to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not connected in LinkedIn, I'm happy to connect with you all.
Yes, please connect with him. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Yes. So I really appreciate. So thank you for always contributing our community. Thank you so much. So I think using Amazon Cognite together with Bedrock agent gateway could be a good option too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I'm exploring that as well, Hiromi, because I have created multiple MCP server. I'm planning to create that Bedrock agent core gateway. So behind that, I'm planning to connect that my
Yeah, yeah.
agent to that MCP server as well.
Yes.
Yeah, not
Good
only in that
combination.
agent and MCP, we can connect that Lambda as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, thank you so much. All right, thank you again, Mahendra. Thank you. So, thank you. So now let's move on to our closing talk. Yeah. Thank you so much. So, all right, everyone, that's all for today. So, first, a big thank you to all of our speakers. Thank you for sharing your time, ideas, and experiences with us. So, and of course, thank you to everyone who joined us today. I hope you enjoyed the sessions and learned something new. So it's always great to see people from around the world coming together here. So we will be back again next month. So I hope to see you all again. Until then, take care and have a good day or a great night. So whenever you are. So thank you everyone and see you next time. Bye for now. Bye bye. Jackie, thank you.